House lawmakers have approved an amendment ending all support for the Saudi-led bombing campaign in Yemen. Regina Santos joins me now to talk about that. Regina, first of all, what can you tell me about the amendment? What are the details here?
The amendment to the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act was introduced by Senator Bernie Sanders and Congressman Ro Khanna, who says, quote, "Our amendment would end all U.S. logistical support and transfer of spare parts for Saudi warplanes that are bombing Yemen, bombing schools, killing children, and bombing civilians in the largest humanitarian crisis around the world." Khanna says they introduced this amendment to finally end U.S. complicity in the Saudi-led war on Houthi rebels in Yemen, which the U.S. has supported since 2015. While the bill passed in the House of Representatives, it now goes to the Senate for upper chamber NDAA conference negotiations.
You know, the difficulty that the Saudis have had is that it's like they're basically like they could lose their whole control over Saudi Arabia, the royal family can, unless they can control the radicals. You know, the radicals are kind of in control right now in Yemen, and they're afraid that's going to bleed over to Saudi Arabia. I mean, the connection is all about the royal family. There's no reason for these bombings. There's absolutely no reason for these bombings. They're killing civilians by the hundreds and thousands. The House also passed another amendment to the defense bill that undermines the amendment by it's introduced by Senator Sanders and Congressman Khanna. Tell me about that, if you would.
Yeah, that's right. Democratic lawmakers also passed an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act introduced by House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Gregory Meeks. Now, that amendment prohibits the maintenance of American-made warplanes used by Saudi military units that the president personally finds responsible for offensive airstrikes that result in civilian casualties. Now, that's great. However, there's one major caveat, an exception that allows the U.S. to continue providing maintenance to warplanes defending Saudi territory from Houthi attacks. Now, this amendment could essentially be used as a loophole by the Biden administration to continue offensive operations in Yemen, permitting business as usual and, of course, undermining the Bernie Sanders-Ro Khanna bill.
What's the likelihood of these amendments passing, Brigida, as you see it right now? I hear this. There's just so much division right now within the Democratic Party. The division's crazy. What do you think about this actually passing?
Well, this is the first time since the Saudi-led coalition launched its military intervention in Yemen that the Democrats have had control over the White House and the upper and lower chamber of Congress. However, both parties have consistently been united on war, so we're going to have to wait and see whether Congress thinks taxpayers should stop bankrolling maintenance and spare parts for Saudi warplanes to continue bombing civilians, or if it chooses to keep fueling the world's largest humanitarian crisis. Now, in the end, it's entirely possible that the Sanders-Khanna amendment is scrapped and the watered-down amendment with all those loopholes proposed by Congressman Meeks makes that final annual defense authorization bill. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, the loopholes are for the weapons industry. The weapons industry is making so much money. It's always just follow the money. Follow the money on the weapons, follow the money on the oil. That's what it's about. And in Congress right now, you have so many Democrats that are just just an extension of Wall Street. So I don't have a lot of hope for this, to tell you the truth. Thank you for joining me, okay?
Thanks, Mike.
Pfizer's announced a global recall of its anti-smoking medication, Chantix, after studies linked long-term use of the drug to certain cancers. Meanwhile, the FDA insists the health benefits of stopping smoking outweigh the cancer risk of Chantix. That sounds like classic to me. Josh Harris with our law firm. Josh, first of all, I look at this case and I see a pattern, okay? The pattern is the FDA is always going to side with corporations as long as they possibly can. That seems to be the case here. Their argument is you're not taking enough of this. You can go a long time and take in this toxin, you're going to be okay. What sparked the recall?
Well, the recall was sparked because Pfizer noticed back in June that their product Chantix had levels of nitrosamine in it, which is a chemical compound which is known for decades to be linked to cancer and causing cancer. From June, Pfizer was going and reviewing these to see if there was any way that they could recoup this. They stopped distribution, and then finally, earlier this month, September, the FDA worked with Pfizer to say that they needed to do a recall. But you're absolutely right. The problem is that they keep substituting one bad thing for another.
Yeah, and the FDA is used to that. If it's they're at the beck and call of corporate America. Now, the truth is, the company's known about this problem a long time. They've certainly known about the concept of NDMA, right? NDMA is part of this class of issues. NDMA, they understand there really is no safe level of NDMA. But here they're saying, yeah, there's a safe level. We're going to allow it to happen. How long did the company know about the problem?
Well, they've known about nitrosamines, including MDMA, for at least the past 20 years. That's been publicly available. In fact, the FDA published articles in support in 2000, I believe, saying that companies need to be on high alert for these cancer-causing chemicals. But they still allow it. They allow a daily level that you can take. But here, Chantix is at 2.5 times the acceptable level.
You understand that acceptable level that the FDA does. It's just a decimal point, okay?
Absolutely.
And they get pressure from the drug company to move that decimal point. They get pressure from Congress to move the decimal point.
Absolutely.
So Pfizer can continue making big profits. And we know this about NDMA. Here, let me give you an example. I know you know this. It's banned in the United States. You can't buy NDMA. The only thing they use it for is to test laboratory rats to get them cancer, to cause cancer as quickly as they can. So how dangerous are these compounds?
Well, I mean, just like you said, they're banned in the United States except to cause cancer in laboratory animals. So, you know, these compounds, NDMA is one, there's a class of these chemical compounds, and if they're ingested long enough, they're going to do just like they do in the lab rats and cause cancer in humans, and that's what we're going to see here not too long with these cases.
Well, isn't the problem that it's a genotoxin? I mean, explain a genotoxin is not, you know, I just took something that was a poison. Genotoxin is something that biologically affects your genes. It's a progressive process, isn't it?
That's correct. So the NDMA is created in the production process of these drugs, and what it does in certain drugs, it'll break down in the body under certain circumstances and then break down in other bodies in other circumstances depending on the product. But it will absolutely change the compound of your body, causing these cancerous cells and causing a host of other issues as well.
Apoptosis, it causes a whole chain of issues at a cellular level.
Yes.
Your body's affected. But the FDA says, oh, you know, you got to have.
There's a level of acceptability.
Yeah, this is a level of acceptability because, gee, smoking is terrible. But there are other things besides Chantix that people can take.
Right.
That's the idea here. Get it off the market. Keep it off the market. Don't have the FDA saying, yeah, it's okay, use it anyway, because there's alternatives, right?
There's much safer alternatives, and actually that's what anyone who's doing Chantix right now needs to do. They need to go talk to their doctor. They need to get off it as quick as they can, because the longer they ingest this, the higher their risk of cancer is. The studies all show that. The doctors know it. Pfizer knows it. The FDA knows it. And they're just, like you said, doing a workaround so Pfizer can keep pumping out this $1 billion seller.
You've been handling cases against drug companies a long time. How much confidence do you have in the FDA making any kind of proclamation that, hey, keep taking this, you're going to be okay?
I wouldn't trust it. If I were on Chantix, I would stop it as soon as I found out.
Find something else. There are other things.
Anything
Find
else.
something else. Josh, thank you for joining me. Okay?
Absolutely.